Hi, I'm Hannah with Half Moon Yoga and Art. Today I would like to give you a little preview of what a watercolor painting workshop is going to look like coming up at Juice Fasting and Beach Camping Yoga Retreat called We Are Water. So this one is all about creativity based on Elizabeth Gilbert's amazing book, Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear, and our second chakra, which is our sacral region of our body, this energy center that's responsible for creativity and productivity. It's related to the element of water and cleansing, going with the flow and feeling. The second chakra is the color orange, and the water is usually the color blue. And in art, we call these two colors a set of complementary colors. So on my color wheel here, you can see that orange is directly across from blue. So when seen in a composition together, they really just pop like big magic. They stick out, they contrast, kind of like yin and yang. We're working on opening and bringing together, finding balance in this energy center. Also taking ideas that come to us and letting them manifest into something physical and visual. So we're going to start by doing a couple of painting techniques. We're only going to do 2 today. At my workshop retreats, we're going to do 10, so another reason to join us. So I provide everyone with these large clipboards and watercolor palette. So we're going to start by using a piece of scrap paper, and if you're doing this at home, you can take any piece of construction paper scrap. We're just going to practice on this. Maybe this one. And go ahead and clip it into your clipboard. And then we're going to choose a brush. So for this first one, it's going to be a just transparent layer. So this one is good for like the sky, or if you're drawing a wave and you see the light shining through as it's coming up to its peak. So we're going to go ahead and get our brush wet. I just chose a nice flat wide brush. So something bigger, going for looser strokes. And then choose a blue and kind of move the water around, loosen it up. And then just with a nice light stroking hand, you're going to go across from one side and then back the other way. And try to erase and brush over any lines that you may see. So I just have here, yep, very light. And that's transparent. You can make some sections a little bit clumpier than others. If it's like the sky, you can turn your brush sideways and have it blend. And then rinse off your brush, dab it a little bit, scrape the water and color off the sides, and dab it off with your towel. Okay, next I want a little bit more of a defined line, and I'll call this the opaque painting technique. And we're going to do orange for this one. So this is more like the shadows within the waves, if you want like a crisp line for the horizon, or shadows underneath the clouds, separating the layers of the ocean. I grabbed my angled brush here, and then I'm going to get a little bit of water, scrape, and loosen up this orange pigment on my palette. I don't want it to be too watery, but I want to be able to get enough pigment on both sides, kind of scraping into it. And then I'm going to go ahead and just draw a nice thin line across my page, my scrap paper. And then practice with drawing a nice thick line, turning my angled brush on its side. Getting a little bit more paint, trying like a ribbon, some thick, some thin, as I move the brush across. Maybe a diagonal line. And then going over some of my lines so that I can't see any paper underneath. I'm just going to go over exactly, get as much pigment as I can on my brush. All right, so you see here just a variety of lines showing this opaque thickness and more definition, as opposed to this really light sky, more of a fuzzy, warm feeling. So you can imagine that more jagged lines are going to represent little more passion perhaps, a little stronger emotions. And then the softer brushes, the softer strokes, more water represents a softness in character and more love and compassion. It's okay to have the two a little bit, you know, fiery passion for what you do, feeling a purpose for your life, and then also feeling a deep inner calm. All right, so let's go ahead and move our little sample out of the way, and we'll get a nice bigger piece of watercolor paper. I have this watercolor paper pad here that I like to use. So you can either choose to work horizontally or vertically, depending on your preference. Usually landscape paintings are done in the horizontal with the horizon line in the background. So we're just going to paint the sea, the water flowing, waves in this color, and just go with the flow of no judgment. Just whatever happens on the page happens, and it's beautiful because it's your creation and you're just like moving and going with the flow. You can listen to music, you can dance, just get into the whole thing. And you can use different oranges. You can use a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow to make more variety of oranges and a variety of blues. We call that more of like a split complementary or a double complementary when we're using, say, yellow and orange with blue and purple together, making a little more complex variation. So we're just painting the ocean, the horizon, the sky, maybe some clouds, also water. Okay, so just let color, line, texture guide you. You can start with the sky if you'd like. Getting some blue on your page. From one side to the other, nice long strokes. Maybe getting a little bit of turquoise in there. Maybe another darker blue, teal. A little bit of layers. Maybe even just like a dab of some purple. And one fun way to show some clouds in the sky while your sky is still wet, you can take your towel and just kind of dab where some clouds might be. And then we can go in with our angled brush, or you can use a more tighter round brush here with like a tiny little end point. If you want to get some sharper shadows underneath some of your clouds. Just nice and light little movements. Wispy. And since there's still a lot of water on this page, some of the lines will just begin to blend in with each other. So you can go over these again later with a little more color and a smaller brush after it dries. Okay? I'm just moving very quickly, but you can move at whatever pace you'd like, finding a nice horizon line, a little bit darker, somewhere in between that opaque. And then I'm going to add a little bit of orange into the sky, like a sunset. Try not to blend it directly with the blue because then you're going to get more of a brown, but right next to each other, if you left some room. And maybe this orange is going to turn a little more red. And eventually a teeny bit of purple as it comes up into the blue sky. Just little pieces. Trying not to dominate with the purple because we're trying to focus mostly on the orange and the blue. Smoothing it out. Okay, great. Now I have my sky and a few clouds. Now I'm going to start really adding some tumultuous waves, that liveliness of the ocean. So you can grab maybe a larger round brush. And I'm going to start with my oranges this time, trying not to cover up too much. My red orange. I'm just going to make some wave-like lines dancing across. Some thick, some thin, some jagged, and some wavy. And then you can go through with a different orange. Maybe making a little more complexity along some of them, or adding new ones. So much mystery and liveliness in the great big sea. Still discovering species and depths. A wise Chinese proverb says, "Be water, my friend, be water. Be adaptable and flexible in life." That means doing yoga. That means not getting stuck on expectations. Letting life unfold in its own way. And accepting the beauty of that mystery. And then maybe a little bit of that reddish purple is going to dance its way across as well. Sparkling. Breathing while you do this. If you find yourself holding your breath, which a lot of new artists do, nerves. Watercolor can be considered to be kind of an unforgiving medium because sometimes once you paint, it's hard to erase, but there are ways of adjusting and adapting to the marks that you place by adding more water, or like I said, doing that lifting technique with your towel, picking up the color in the water again. And then we're gonna go back and add some nice deep blues in the ocean. And these can be strong and opaque or transparent, but try not to paint directly on top of the orange. So just strokes next to each other. We're kind of like filling in the blanks like we're coloring in a coloring book. You could choose from a variety of blues. Just let it be like a raw expression, movement, without pressure. Thin lines, thick lines. And leave a little bit of space for the water too. The light to dance off the tops of the waves, the little peaks. You can even let some colors kind of drag down, changing the direction of your brush. Kind of like a splashing look. We're going for more of an abstraction instead of realistic. Realistic isn't always so fun or creative to paint. You want like a wild feel. Modern art. Okay, and then when you're finished, you have this magical blue and orange, creative, flowy reminder to just let go and let your creativity run wild. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you up at my upcoming retreat. And I wish you love and light. Namaste.